Hey, hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse?
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I, stopped the goddess of love from killing herself, I guess?
Whoa. Do gods have interventions? You know, they're nothing like I thought they would be. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is Kaz Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddie?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Do you know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9. Though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched. So they got that part right, at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, I guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her, then. What about Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean, Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan. And no, they aren't all like that. Our sun god had a reputation.
Tell me what you know about Persephone.
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
And that's it? She was kidnapped by Hades, end of story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right, that doesn't sound like her at all.
Must be hard to be defined by this one thing that happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true. You said Pan was some kind of lust god, right?
Yeah, kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil. Weirdly, he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost. But also, what might still be out there.
You think there might be other gods out there?
Well, there are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies, hundreds of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? And all those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere and no one would know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
Yeah, it's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but even they rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
You know what I find weird? That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline, Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Hello again. I can't remember the last time I had guests so frequently. I did tell you we could discuss your memories and the Eidolon more in depth after the party. Did you have any questions, or...?
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
Well, let's see. It starts as dreams you'll have of places you've never been, people you've never met, fleeting images, feelings. Then they'll appear while you're awake. You'll be eating breakfast and suddenly recall when you last ate something similar in the 17th century. The only difficult part is that eventually it can be hard to differentiate between your life and all those other lives. They blend together.
It does sound confusing.
A little, yeah. And not all the memories will be good ones. It can take time to process.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
Well, we call it passing on, meeting the Eidolon, and it's fine. I've passed on 12 times that I can recall.
So your name isn't really Apollo?
Most recently it was Lucas. Everyone Lucas ever knew is gone, however, so these days I prefer Apollo again.
Lucas? Seems weird to think of you as a Lucas.
It was weird for him, too. Much like yourself, Lucas becoming Apollo was somewhat of a surprise.
Sounds like there's a story there. You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Grace, would you say that who you are is at least in part due to your experiences?
I guess so, sure.
Well, you'll have a lot more experiences. They won't feel like someone else's either. It will feel like you did all those things. They will shape who you are now, just as they shaped Calliope and all those who came before her. The good news is, you won't get all the memories. Each time we pass on, the older memories fade.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
We're many thousands of years old, Grace. If all of those memories returned with perfect clarity, you'd drown in them.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Tell me, how much do you remember from when you were a small child?
Bits and pieces, I guess. Not much.
It's the same for us. The further I try to think back, the more blurry it becomes. I remember the important bits, but little else. Some of the really old memories. There's so many mortal stories that get mixed up with them, things my previous selves learned as legends. It becomes hard to tell. It takes time, Grace. You'll remember all the lives you've led, but at a pace you can handle, and nothing more.
Tell me about this Lucas. How did he become you? Or is it how you became Apollo?
Apollo had taken to surfing. He left the city without permission and roamed the coast looking for... Well, I'm not sure now. Whatever it was, he found it one night when a giant wave took him down. He was drowning, and I thought, this is finally it. But it wasn't. Lucas saw Apollo struggling and swam out to save him. He pulled us ashore, but it was too late. It took a long time to realize what happened. I didn't return to the city until years later. By then, everyone thought I was Apollo's chosen successor.
So no trial for you, huh?
It wasn't easy at first, without memories or anyone to guide me, but no, nothing like that.
Wait, what would have happened if Lucas hadn't tried to rescue you? What if no one was there when you...
When I died, then the Eidolon of Apollo's line would have ended forever, I think.
You think?
There have been stories about Eidolons that survive for a time and go wandering. That's probably all they are, though. Stories. It's not something we've had much opportunity to study, but normally death without passing on is how an idol really dies. Forever.
It's a lot to consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Hopefully this eases whatever concerns you might have had. Anything else you'd like to discuss while you're here?
What happened to the other muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
Cleo perished centuries before. the victim of an obsessed writer she'd spurned. He kept her in a cage as his personal muse.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
It was. By the time we found her, she was already... Well, it's enough to say her captor didn't survive her for long. Talia, however, was lost to us on the very last day of the war. We were about to leave on the ship, but she just never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never found out. I worried for years, even hired people to look, but as far as I can tell, she up and vanished into smoke that day. The war had ground her down. I was upset, but not surprised.
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
I don't think we would have left the old world otherwise. It was home.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
I caused it. I foresaw what was going to happen, so I tried to prevent it. I told Ares. I figured if the god of war couldn't stop what was to come, then...
And that's why he betrayed everyone.
He decided the idols were a lost cause. Because I told him we were.
That's awful. Is that why you...
Stopped helping. Stopped interfering. I suppose so, yes. My time afterwards was spent helping the survivors, keeping us on the move. If Hephaestus hadn't intervened, we would have all been captured.
And he's...
Oh, gone now, we assume, like so many others. We are nothing more than refugees from a war long over, Grace.
Was it hard for the idols to come to the New World? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
I don't think it was the place so much as the condition we were in. Shell-shocked, one might say. Our entire world had been turned upside down. Suddenly, we had rules. Secrecy was paramount, and no one was permitted to leave the city. Some, like my sister Artemis, couldn't abide it.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Goddess of the hunt. And a wild thing herself. She left, I think. Faded away without a word. As many did in the early days here. Later, Athena became even more strict. For our own good, of course, but it hasn't been easy. This city has never felt like home so much as a temporary shelter.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Of course. I look forward to it.
I'd say hello, Grace, but I'm afraid that look on your face might be catching.
What is this place?
It's a garden, darling. Surely even mortals have them.
This building. All those people I pass getting up here. Are they all idols?
Oh, at least some of them. Welcome to Olympus, dear Grace. Our home hidden away in plain sight. Marvelous, isn't it?
I've passed this part of the city 100 times. I've never seen this building. Was it always here, or...?
Our Lady Hecate provides glamours that allow certain things to go unseen, such as my glorious horns. Olympus is the same. Those invited see it. Those who aren't see exactly what they expect. It's not anywhere as grand as in the old country, but it serves its purpose.
I don't know, Pan. Olympus seems pretty grand to me.
As if mortals would know any better. This isn't the first time you've been here. I'm sure Hermes took you to Athena's dreary office.
That's here? Huh.
Good one, that Hermes. Almost as dull-witted as the original, but biddable.
How many idols are there? I've met, less than 12?
Oh, I don't know, 20, 30. Our numbers have dwindled so much I've stopped keeping track.
I didn't know there were that many gods.
We're not all equally legendary, it's true. Some idols were barely worshipped, others not at all. Indeed, not all of us are idols. Some are merely immortal. Hangers-on, if you will. You'll meet them all, given time.
Idols live here? I mean, Calliope didn't, obviously. Apollo doesn't either.
One must have special dispensation from Our Lady of Wisdom, Athena, before they can take up a private dung heap like Apollo's.
Am I gonna have to give him my apartment?
That's rather putting the cart before the horse, darling. First, you must outlive the week.
Right. Good point. You asked me to meet you here?
I did. Though I feared you might decline, considering your rather callous rejection earlier. Regardless, my pride is intact, as is the favor you owe me, which I now wish to collect.
Fine. But just so you know, I'm not doing anything that's against the rules. I already have one trial coming.
Grace, baby, Boobala, have I ever led you astray?
Not yet.
Here's the thing. A friend has begged for my help, and you're far better suited than I to offer what he requires. I'll give you a key to reach the reliquary where he resides. You help him, and then we're even. If that's not enough incentive, the reliquary is also where you'll find the lovely Hecate. A sorceress of her power could aid your quest. What do you say?
This Hecate, do you think she could help me?
If she's of a mind. She is the goddess of dark magic, the creator of all our marvelous glamours. If anyone can help you, it is she.
And if she's not of a mind?
Then she won't help you. Grace, that part is up to you. I can't be expected to do everything, can I?
This person I'm to help, what does he want? And why can't you do it?
Well, Grace, there are some things you're better equipped to handle than I. This, as I understand it, is a delicate matter of the heart. One that requires a muse's hand.
A matter of the heart.
What, did you think I was sending you to rough someone up? Set something aflame? Don't be absurd. The man has an issue with his love life. Even if you can't help him, I'll treat the effort as worth the favor.
What is this reliquary? Doesn't that have something to do with the bones of saints or something?
Not those relics. Our relics. The relics of ancient gods. Magical treasures collected over thousands of years. Books, mainly. We store them in a faraway place so no one unsavory can get their hands on them.
Unsavory like you?
Unsavory like most. Athena has decreed that these relics are not to be used by any save Hecate and herself. A rather dull waste of so much amassed knowledge and power, but who am I to judge? I'm not leader of the chorus.
If these relics are off limits, does that mean they're dangerous?
Some, but I'm not asking you to chase after any of that nonsense. In fact, I'd advise against it.
But what if one of those relics could help me?
My, such an adventurer you are. It's possible, but ask Hecate first. She, and I mean this with complete and uncharacteristic seriousness, is not an idol you or anyone wishes to cross.
So that's it? Fix up someone's love life? Nothing trickier than that?
Oh, the way you talk, Grace. It makes me blush.
Well, it's just that...
I trade in willing favors, Grace. If I didn't, no one would want to do as I ask, and then where would I be? I may seem untrustworthy, but allow me to reassure you. If I wish you harm, you will walk into that harm knowingly, and with open arms.
What about Calliope? Did she walk into harm knowingly and with open arms?
You tell me. I could deny it, of course, but if you choose not to believe anything I say, what's the point of asking the question?
I'll think about it, but no promises.
Marvelous. The gentleman you seek is named Asterion. Lovely fellow, quite harmless. Now, if there's nothing else you need.
That depends. What can you tell me about Medusa?
That is a rather peculiar subject change.
Her name came up at Aphrodite's party. I'd like to look into it.
You'll find Medusa at a dingy little club appropriately named the Viper's Nest. Give her my regards. Do tell me you'll be careful if you go there, Grace. Medusa is a hideous creature and should be treated as such.
I'll be careful. What could go wrong?
Darling, there are so many responses to that, I can't pick just one. I'll send a package to your domicile that contains directions and the key you'll need to reach the reliquary.
I said no promises.
Well, if you decide to go, Grace, you'll still need all those things. Say hello to darling Hecate on my behalf, will you?
Ah, hello again.
Hello yourself.
Ugh, get a room, both of you.
I want to thank you for the other day, Grace. I won't forget our walk anytime soon.
I should hope not.
Is there, something you came to talk about?
No, that's okay. I'll see you later, Apollo. This must be the Viper's Nest. Scariest part of town, no sign. Just that one dude glaring at everyone. Well, I'm here now. Just another day in the life of an idol.
Oh, there you are. Man, this place is the worst. I think someone peed on me.
Freddy? What are you doing here?
What, you thought I wouldn't notice you skulking off? You didn't even bring any equipment, Grace.
Freddy, please tell me you don't think you're some kind of adventurer.
I'm sorry. Are you not about to head into a monster's lair at great personal peril? What else would you call that?
You're such a dork. I adore you.
Good, because I'm not about to let you wander in there without backup. Who knows? Maybe the stuff I know about Medusa might actually apply. Well, that'd be a switch.
Do you think she actually turns people to stone?
Let's hope not, or this could be a short visit. Or a really, really long one.
I'm serious.
Perseus used a mirror to reflect Medusa's gaze back at her. Oh, maybe you could use your phone.
You think that would work?
Unless you brought a mirror, Grace, it's all you got.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you know about Medusa?
Well, you know, she was human once, right? And she was cursed.
Apollo mentioned it, yeah.
Cursed by Athena. Or so one of the stories goes, anyway.
But doesn't she work for Athena?
Hey, don't look at me. My knowledge of this stuff stops at a few thousand years ago.
She was once human, but she's definitely a monster, right?
One of the worst. Though who knows if that is still true.
From what Apollo said, I don't think she's changed much.
Then I guess you need to be prepared for the possibility that she is as bad as the legends say. Though some of the stories also say that she was wronged by Athena and that what was done to her was an injustice.
And Athena just follows the rules, right? Okay, enough talking. Time to do this.
You have a plan for how we're getting inside, I hope?
Maybe. You're here to help?
Always.
Then I have a plan. Nothing in your bag for bashing a lock, I take it?
I thought this was an adventure, not break and enter.
What do you think adventures are, Freddy?
I still can't believe you can do that. It's like I don't even know you. And is this a good idea? What if Medusa, calls the cops?
As I recall, your big idea was to distract the guy at the front door with firecrackers.
They're legal. And loud?
Do I even want to know what else is in there?
No, it's probably better if you don't.
And there we go. Coming?
Oh, hell yes. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Time to split up and have a look around.
What a long day, hiding in the light. Such a long day, dreaming of tonight. This sacred bite. Hello, who's that there? You've messed up my flow. Just get your drink, girl, and take your seat. Oh, it's the muse. There are sacred bites, and then there's this sacred bite. So wrong, so right. I'm really gonna hate myself tonight.
Before you start the show, Pam said to say hello. That's what he said to say.
Well, any friend of Pan's is a friend of Pan's.
Okay. I hate to interrupt your flow. There's just some things I need to know. I wish there was another way.
Yes, you do. Now, look into me. Your body goes freely every time as it tenders, turning jelly as it renders. What'd you say, Grace? You okay, Grace? Where's the game face this time? You are currently experiencing something I like to call the preparation. Any questions or comments? That's right, it is widely known that I can turn folks to stone. But oh, I won't this time. Because this time I find that the oozy music
Was she mad?
She said I'd been bad.
Had you been?
No. Now look into me.
Listen, Medusa. She hides you in shame, but she uses you all the same. You could live another way. If I was treated like you, I'd be a monster too.
That's kind to say, but you could never be a creature like me. You didn't kill
Calliope. So you know that it's true that I didn't do it.
No.
Yes, you do know. You know, does that mean Athena knows?
No. Okay. It's dinner time. You're not gonna watch?
You think that will hurt me, child? You have not done your homework.
Oh, sorry, just trying to get your attention. Yeah, I've been watching, and I'm willing to bet you can't turn me to stone before I burn your snakes off.
Hey, stand down, Freddy. Let's give Medusa some space.
Yeah, okay. I'm watching her, though.
You ready to talk?
Oh, fine. Fine. What exactly is it that you want, pretty muse?
Isn't it obvious? Tell us what you know about Calliope's death.
Blast! This is why I didn't tell Lady Athena. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I only followed pretty Calliope to the reliquary. I didn't touch her. I didn't even know she'd been attacked until I saw her flee. You did not even know that much.
Wait, this is the same reliquary Pan wants you to go to?
Small world.
She was at the reliquary the eve she died, but I had no part in the muse's death.
You followed Calliope to the reliquary. Why were you shadowing her at all?
I am Lady Athena's spymaster, yes. Calliope has been trouble from time to time.
So you were spying on her?
I keep watch over every idol who no longer lives in Olympus, but especially Calliope. When I realized she was headed to the reliquary that eve, I followed. I had a duty to Athena.
Did you ever find out why Calliope went there?
I was never close enough to ask. When I drew near to the reliquary, that is when I saw the muse fleeing. She was frightened, blooded, dying.
Let me guess, that made you hungry.
I gave chase, yes, but to discover the truth. I knew Lady Athena would wish to know.
Uh-huh.
And you wonder why I said nothing to anyone. After all, who would believe ugly, monstrous Medusa?
You haven't told Athena any of this?
Do I need to light things up again? 'Cause I'll do it.
I told her Calliope was at the reliquary that night. I did not tell her I was also there.
So Athena knows Calliope was attacked there?
Yes, no. If she does, surely not by whom. I am but guessing, however. Lady Athena tells me oh so very little.
You said Calliope was attacked. Who could have done it?
I thought it might have been Asterion. I saw the great beast chasing her, as I was.
Pan's friend?
It was not him, alas. He was as confused as I, and not a drop of the Muse's blood on him. Yet I realized this too late.
So what happened in the reliquary?
I never entered, so I do not know. A question for Asterion and Hecate, perhaps.
Why should we believe you? You did just try to eat me, remember?
I am telling you the truth.
Right, and not at all trying to cover your own ass.
You presented an opportunity. Oh, to taste the sweet, sweet blood of a hero once again. It's a problem. I've been working on it, I really have. I know it's hard to believe what a monster tells you, but it is true.
Okay, let's say we believe you. For the moment.
Whatever you do, Pretty Muse, I beg you. Do not tell Athena of my indiscretion. Show mercy. I know what I am horrifies you. It horrifies me as well. I cannot help what I am. I did not ask to be cursed like this.
Indiscretion, huh? It's quite the word for it.
I cannot apologize for my hunger. I can only apologize that I am so very weak in the face of it.
I'll think about it.
I am a lost and cursed thing. No idol. If Lady Athena should learn the truth... I hope you find what you seek, Pretty Muse. And that we meet again someday. And sing a different song.
Pondering the big question, Grace. Do we actually believe her?
I don't think I can. Not without going to the reliquary to make sure.
What happens if we go there and it checks out?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
So, the hunt continues? Great. More adventures for me then.
Would you really have tried to burn Medusa's face off? With an aerosol can?
Hell yeah! One hint of googly eyes and...
What would I do without you?
You'll never need to answer that question, Grace.
Oh, if it isn't, the lovely Grace?
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
Well, yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked. I told you I didn't know what happened to Calliope, and that's the truth. I did not. So I nudged you in the right direction.
So you were what? Just trying to be helpful? You still aren't telling me something.
What possible reason would I have to...
Tell me, right now.
Medusa learned that Calliope was going to the reliquary because I told her. Now, before you say anything, I had no idea of the fate awaiting our dear Muse. And you yourself said Medusa was not responsible. I simply had to know if I'd inadvertently, rather innocently...
Sold her out? She came to you for help, and you gave her whereabouts to the highest bidder.
I am trying to help, Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
The way where I don't take all the blame.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
I wish I could tell you, Grace. I truly do.